Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF, where the performance of Veltima fungicide could take your best results even farther. Some got a little rain over the weekend. We'll find out more about the upcoming forecast with Ryan Martin coming up. But first, this Ohio State Fair Open Livestock schedule brought to you by Farm Credit Mid-America. As we look to our schedule, let's start on the 22nd with the Open Show Beef Breeding Session 1, and it's in the Voinovich Livestock Center. 8 a.m. the show starts, and that will include Simmentals, Percentage Simmental, Hereford, and Angus. The Session 2 beef breeding doesn't come in until July 26th. On the 25th, in the Dairy Barn, we'll start with milking Shorthorns at 10 a.m. The 26th will include Holstein heifers, red and white heifers, and Ayrshire heifers. Also, on the 26th and 27th, the Poultry Barn will be active. Both days shows start at 9 a.m. And up at OhioAgNet.com is our dairy feature of a family who has spent many years showing at the Ohio State Fair. Check it out at OhioAgNet.com. Today's weather brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
We got some lingering moisture that wants to try and pop up across Ohio here today. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that Ohio Ag Weather update. For most of your Monday, that lingering moisture is going to be south and southwest, right near the Ohio River. We're seeing better rainfall potential to our west in central and southern parts of Indiana. Most of Ohio misses out today. If you are central, northern parts of the state, you're going to be seeing partly sunny skies with a very, very muggy kind of setup. Everybody is dry from tonight through tomorrow and through Wednesday. A hot dome is really starting to develop here, well above normal temperatures for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and we are going to be staying precipitation free through that time period. I am not seeing our next round of moisture come together until late Friday afternoon, Friday evening, on through the overnight. That's where we can see on again, off again showers and storms. We end up with likely nearly 100% coverage, but it's going to take a while to get all of the state. By the time we get to sunrise or shortly after on Sunday morning, that's when I can say everybody was probably covered with a 1/4 to 1 inch of precipitation. Behind it, we dry down for next Sunday afternoon. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, heat is still here, but we are somewhat unstable as we have plenty of moisture trying to come up off the Gulf, and we have another weather system or two working to come through the Great Lakes region. So I think we have to allow for on-again, off-again showers and thunderstorms Monday night through Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. But as we look farther back off to the west, we are seeing a large-scale upper-level ridge building in. I fear that that's going to shift us into a much drier pattern as we move past August 1st and 2nd and into that first 10-day period of August. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Let's check in with Joel from the previously held Goat Show.
Congratulations to Hayden Bryant of Ashland County for exhibiting the Grand Champion Market Goat at the 2025 Ohio State Fair. Ohio AgNet is feeding you the results first, thanks to Formula of Champions, fueled by Kalmbach Feeds.
My name's Hayden Bryant. I'm 14 years old, and I'm from Ashland County. And I just won Grand Champion at the Ohio State Fair. Yep, I won the heavyweights. It's just really like all your hard work paying off. I've spent like half the summer in the barn, and it's taught me a lot of life lessons, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to do it. When the judge came and shook my hand, I just felt a lot of gratitude, honestly. Everything's really like thanks to God. I prayed like 5 times a day, so I really couldn't have done it without him and my family. I tried to show him to my best ability, and I always tried to give it my all. Every other day I rinse them, and every Sunday I wash them. I feed them every morning, I exercise them, I work them outside. I walk them around the field to get him to walk better. And my favorite part about showing at State Fair is getting to see all the people I love, like my friends and my family. And especially for us, we have people come from Oklahoma or Arkansas to come help us, and I'm grateful for them for that. I really want to do it till I'm 21, but I don't think I'll be able to. I hope to become a vet and go to Oklahoma State University. Maybe judge, I don't know yet. My advice to younger exhibitor would be to just listen to the people behind you, because they're the ones that are pushing you to become a better person. I know for me, I have this guy in my life, Camden Urban. He really helps me and he pushes me to be my best, even though he may make me mad, but I still love him. And I just say, work hard and have grit.
Congratulations, Hayden, and thanks, Joel, for the update. More coverage from the GOAT Show at the Ohio State Fair online at ohioagnet.com. In the House Natural Resources Committee held a full committee markup of several bills, including the Black Vulture Relief Act of 2025. The National Cattlemen's Beef Association commends the House Natural Resources Committee for reporting this legislation out of committee favorably. This legislation addresses an issue that NCBA members have faced for years as they have dealt with the devastating attacks on their livestock without the ability to protect their cattle from these predators. And last week's federally inspected cattle harvest represented a modest volume of 568,000 head, following the holiday shortened week prior featuring the just 474,000 head. By the way, this data coming from Certified Angus Beef, but looking at the entire industry. With large moves in both directions, fed cattle prices have been erratic for the past 3 weeks. This has left sellers uncertain if the typical weaker July price pattern will develop. Halfway through the month, a nearly $8 per hundredweight steer price increase argues against directional weakness. The spot market price spread from north to south has widened again, with Iowa and Nebraska live prices averaging $238 per hundredweight to $240 per hundredweight, while Texas and Kansas feedlots are averaging $229 per hundredweight on a small volume. Carcass cutout prices have been in a downward correction for 2 weeks now, descending from the recent record high outside of the COVID slowdown. Cutout prices quoted a 22% increase in current wholesale cutout values versus a year ago. July price pressure is historically appropriate, and it should be of little surprise that prices should retreat from recent lofty levels. Packer margins suffered a big setback last week, with cash cattle costs sharply higher and boxes cheaper. This will not stimulate eagerness to harvest cattle faster. Latest steer carcass weights average 933 pounds, 2 pounds heavier than their year-to-date low of 931, logged just 2 weeks ago. The current weight is 22 pounds heavier than a year ago at this time. Back with more after this.
Hey, Ohio! The best summer adventure is almost here at the Ohio State Fair, July 23rd through August 3rd. Don't miss fair favorites like the Butter Cow, livestock animals, shopping, delicious food, exciting entertainment, thrilling rides, competitions, and so much more. Experience the Ohio State Fair July 23rd through August 3rd. Get your tickets at ohiostatefair.com.
Friday, July 25th is Recovery Ohio's Mental Health Day at the Ohio State Fair. Visit the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, the Department of Insurance, and other state agency booths. Join us on Friday, July 25th for Recovery Ohio's Mental Health Day at the Ohio State Fair. We'll see you there.
Oil prices rose Friday morning after European Union member states agreed on new sanctions package targeting Russia. The measures include bans on fuel imports made from Russian crude oil and a lower, now dynamic price cap on Russian crude oil. The New York MEX traded August delivery rose 99 cents a barrel, while the ICE Brent for September delivery added 86 cents a barrel. The U.S. dollar index softened by 0.456 points, bringing it to 97.990. Russia was a major supplier of diesel to Europe prior to the invasion of Ukraine. Since then, Europe had to rely on imports from other parts of the world, including India and Turkey, with both becoming major buyers of Russian crude oil. The new sanctions package aims at limiting Russian energy revenues by banning imports of diesel refined from Russian crude oil. Diesel prices jumped on the news. The The package also expands the list of sanctioned tankers involved in the illicit trade of Russian oil and introduces a new price ceiling for Russian oil tied to benchmark prices. The new price cap will be set at 15% below market price, which would be considerably below the current $60 per barrel limit. Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company, excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. For marketing information on your beans to LDC, call 574-566-2113. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished stronger last Friday. As we take a look at the reasons why, it becomes very, very clear, at least to me, that we can't really sustain this longer term. We'll get to that in a little bit as we move through last Friday's closes. Corn up about 5 to 7. Beans were up 6 to 9 cents. The wheat markets were up double digits in Chicago and KC, 5 to 7 higher in Minneapolis overall. Breaking news was absent last Friday. Soybeans moved off the session highs as we moved through the day, so double-digit highs were set in early last Friday morning, and we didn't go anywhere near those at the close. Soybean oil was the biggest driver in any kind of soy trade last week. As we went through Wednesday and Thursday, it was up, but soybean oil moved lower, finishing 40 to 57 points down as we finished out last Friday. I think that was interesting here. Central United States heat is going to be watched closely this week. We're seeing it spread to the Eastern Corn Belt Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. What I can tell you, though, is if you're looking at the weather and trying to paint a bullish picture, bullish scenario on heat, I will point you toward the moisture that fell in a lot of areas. There were some very, very dry areas to our west that picked up rain. Now, you can argue some spots of Indiana picked up too much too fast. Hey, it was rain, and I think that the market's going to be looking at just these key weather maps on the rain side and looking at that as being a rain makes grain scenario. Otherwise, we're not really seeing any kind of change on the demand side. China remained absent from the global marketplace late last week. Imports of corn in June, as reported by Chinese customs, totaled just 160,000 metric tons. That's down 83% from last year. Wheat was down 70% at 350,000 tons. Sorghum, 440,000 tons, down 53%. Look, China's not buying anything. USDA in its July WASDE trimmed annual Chinese corn imports from 7 million metric tons to 5. The pace suggests that Chinese imports this year are going to be struggling to reach 3 to 4. Not a good demand story here overall. If we continue to see a large supply, which I point you back toward weather, the weather says we probably see that. Large supply, no demand equals bad for prices. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. A quick note on the calendar before we get to the overnight figures. Today, powered by Soy Biodiesel, ahead to the Clark County Fair. We'll be there all thanks to Axis Seeds, and their Junior Fair check presentation, number 1, will happen tomorrow. Then on Wednesday, we'll be at the first day for us at the Ohio State Fair. We'll be at the Junior Fair Sheep Show, and again, that's all thanks to Kalmbach Feeds. On Thursday, we'll return to the Ohio State Fair, to the home of the Butter Cow, the Dairy Products Building. We'll get an update on the dairy industry, and by then, we'll know what the butter sculpture is. It's all brought to you by American Dairy Association Mid-East. Today's market's brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Overnight at the open, September corn down 3/4 at $4.07 3/4. December down a penny at $4.26 3/4. March is down 3/4, but at $4.44. The August soybeans down 5 1/4, trading 10.22 1/2. November down 5 1/2 at 10.30 1/4. March is down 5 1/4, but at $10.60 1/2. September wheat down 3/4 at 5.45 1/2. December down a penny, 5.66. Carried all the way to March, you're down a penny at 5.84 1/4. In livestock on Friday's close, August cattle down 12 cents at $223.55. October down 50 at $219.82. And December down 70 cents at $219.80. The lean hogs were higher for August, up 65 cents at $106.47. October, $90.62, up 2 cents and December up 47 cents at $82.80. September feeder cattle down $1.22 at $324.20. The October down $1.37 at $322.30. And November also down $1.37 at $319.52. Don't forget more ag news and Ohio State Fair results at ohioagnet.com. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dale Minyo. This is the Ohio AgNet.